Welcome to this week's episode of Talkin Folk. I am here with our good friend, Mr. Ryan Sheedy. What's going on over there?
Fighting through quarantine life due to the Miss Rona.
Yeah. I see you got a tight haircut there, buddy.
Yeah, it was about I probably needed a haircut the week after we went into kind of shelter-in-place life and all the non-essential businesses closed, which unfortunately included my barber. So Amazon came in handy with some clippers, and I'm definitely not going to pretend I'm skilled enough to try and do any type of fade or anything with scissors. So we just went with the 1.5 all the way around, real military type look.
It actually fits your head. You actually have a nice round top of your head, which I know mine's lumpy. So
yeah, I wasn't scared to do it because I did it for like 3 years straight. It probably wasn't my best choice, but I was lazy, and this is really easy to maintain, and it cuts like 4 minutes out of your shower time. Yeah.
Well, you'll get back to a barber eventually.
I sure hope so.
So we got some drinks going. I got a whiskey going. You made yourself a espresso teeny.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night.
A little fun.
Saturday night. All the days are kind of blending together, but still trying to keep some semblance of normalcy, and we're going to have a little fun here. Who you got for us today?
We're talking Marcus King. And we have to make that distinction because he's got Marcus King Band, and then he's got Marcus King, his, self-named solo act. So,
and he's got his father, Marvin King.
Yeah, so it's a whole family thing. So let's start talking about him. I'm going to put on this song called The Well, which just kind of rips, right? So not much going on lyrically and that we were going to break down, but it's an awesome song that we'll listen to in the background. So you want to talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, I think this is a good song to kind of intro it to with, because he has a reputation as one of the premier guitarists of current times, really up and coming guitar prodigy. And this song you hear in the background here, The Well, has some pretty heavy riffs. Kind of gets in a little bit of face melting mode. So
yeah, and that's more what his Marcus King Band is like. It's really blues, power rock,
instrumental heavy.
Yeah, a lot of solos, a lot of fun. I'm sure if you're out there at a concert, it might not be something that you're gonna listen to casually, but if you're in that mood, man, it's like a Gary Clark or something of that vein.
So I was watching a little bit of I have not seen him live personally after listening to his solo album here, Dorado. I'd love to go see him live, but it seems like Marcus King Band definitely goes for a little bit more of a jam band session type feel.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you don't get that vibe at all on his newest album, El Dorado, which came out in January of this year.
You almost, on this album that we're going to go through, outside of this, I think this is the only song on the album that I can recall that's really kind of similar to something like the Marcus King Band or whatnot. And you mentioned to me, like, this is Black Keys. So, I don't know, you want to talk about Mr. Auerbach?
Yeah, so, just listening to this song, it was, like, the number one song on Spotify, like, his most played song at the moment. So, it's the first one I went to.
Right.
Just listening to it, I was like, this sounds like the Black Keys. And I hadn't done any looking into this guy at all. Turns out, as we start our research to do this podcast, Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys produced and co-wrote a lot of these songs with Marcus King.
Yeah, and that story's pretty cool. So Dan reached out to him, which is a nice gesture, obviously. And Marcus King is 24.
24, just turned 24 last month.
You're a 24-year-old guitar player and get reached out to by Dan Auerbach, says, hey, I really want to do an album with you. I think you're doing something right.
I would say so.
Yeah, so they recorded this album at his Easy Eye Studios in Nashville. There's a lot of good tracks on here. We're going to go through a couple today. But his start was he's been around for a little while, actually. His start was he 12, 10, something like that?
He was 11. I mean, he started, based on my research, he started playing guitar at 3. He has a very music-heavy family. Both his grandfather and his father are regionally famous gospel, bluesy, southern rock acts that are his dad's still performing, still playing gigs.
Gotcha.
He's from South Carolina originally, so he's got a lot of heavy southern rock, blues influence, soul in his
Right.
music, which you'll hear in these songs coming up. And then, yeah, he started really, I guess you could say professional at age 11 because he was a session
Yeah.
artist on one of his dad's albums.
The story of him. So I read a couple stories about him, and there was some interviews that he's done. I think there's been a lot of press leading up to this El Dorado album, especially. So there's been a good amount to kind of sift through. He snuck into. I had it written down. At 15, he snuck into the Orange Peel, which is a club in Asheville, North Carolina, like with the Caterers or whatever. And Warren Haynes of Government Mule or Allman Brothers Band back in the day was playing, and he was trying to get him his demo tape, and ended up just getting arrested. But then eventually got him the demo tape through some kind of mutual connection or whatever, maybe through his dad or whatnot. But and then it was only like a few years later he was opening for Warren Haynes in Government Mule.
And I think Warren Haynes
awesome.
had a big hand in production on the Marcus King Band
Yeah.
past couple albums, so they've certainly struck up a very good professional friendship that seems to be beneficiary to Mr. Marcus King.
Yeah, and we were watching some live concerts before. There are some, I don't know if you stumbled upon any, but there are some with Warren Haynes and Marcus King playing together, their own songs or, cover songs of different bands and stuff, which is probably a pretty cool feeling playing with somebody who's in the Allman Brothers Band.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to get off topic for a second, I know you just kind of looked at it. I feel like Auerbach is doing so much. I mean, you
Yeah.
just did a Yola episode on this Talkin Folk
Yep.
podcast about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and he was the main producer on her latest album, and now here he is again. He seems to be
I mean, this guy. So what's funny is you wrote it or you said it correctly before. You didn't realize potentially how big of an influence or sought after thing Dan Auerbach and the Black Keys were or are. Plus him being a producer, he's got a Easy Eye Studios in Nashville, which I think is just a place where people want to go record stuff. If you go to his wiki or any, it's on a few different sites or even just his own website of things that he's produced. I mean, it's like at least 4 or 5, at least albums a year that he's producing right now.
and it's all over the place.
It's all over the map, and he's playing still on other artists. He played guitar in an A$AP Rocky song, which is like so left field compared to what he actually normally plays. The first one, the biggest one that I remember him producing was one of his first ones was the Dr. John album, Dr. John's last album.
And now he's gone on to have Lana Del Rey and Ray LaMontagne and Marcus
Yeah.
King and Yola. It's a pretty
And he's
impressive
got
list.
a CeeLo Green album coming out this summer, which
That's
is
going to be crazy. I'll
Pretty
be
fun.
looking forward to that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a little Dan Auerbach segue. So the first song that we're gonna play outside of the well that we're actually gonna kind of slow down and talk about is a song called "Wildflowers Wine." Maybe I'll just frame it for 2 seconds, and then we could stop along the way. We'll do what we want. Right? This is quarantine. This is a remote show. This is
Yeah. It's a drinking show.
yeah. It's
We're having fun.
He wrote this song obviously when he went into the studio to record El Dorado, he actually put it together. And it's about just this one time in his life where he drove a really long distance to go see his girlfriend. And the only thing he drove from, where's he from? South Carolina to Virginia to go see his girlfriend. And the only thing that he picked up a bottle of wine and stopped on the side of the highway to pick wildflowers. So we'll leave it at that.
Wildflowers and wine. The old scratchy record plays in the background of our lives. We're still here dancing after all this time. Wildflowers and wine. I walk through fields of evergreen, a golden sun like I've never seen. I pick them one at a time, wildflowers and wine.
He's gonna get into the chorus right here, but it's just worth noting that this is still just a blues. This is just a slow blues, and he's just showing off his vocals in addition to his guitar and all that.
Yes, and I think that was a big point of this album, is showing that he's more than just a guitar player. He has a great raw voice with a lot of potential. I listen to this song and I feel like I'm listening to Ray Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of influence from like classic R&B, soul, and blues.
Yeah, this is like bluesy gospel to a T.
So I'm just gonna let it keep going because it kind of repeats the same verse a couple times. He does mix in a different one later, but to me this is like actually after the trip. So there is that one verse where he recalls picking the flowers, but the rest of it is just like them dancing in a room after he showed up with these flowers and wine.
I think it's just a simple, beautiful love song that, just kind of a memory that he greatly enjoys of his relationship. It feels like a first dance at a wedding type song, which I think is maybe what he was going for a little bit here. Yeah. I could definitely see that. It's just a really simple song about, devotion and not needing anything fancy to, not needing a ton of material stuff for a love like this. He just needs a few wildflowers and wine, a scratchy record and the record player, and dance and be with your loved one.
Yeah. He gives us that guitar solo, and then from what I read, it was Dan Auerbach's idea to do a lot of those like gospel background singing moments in there. He like added them in after on a few songs, including the one that we're gonna play next. And originally, I guess when Marcus got into the studio, he was a little uncomfortable about the fact that he was like being forced to half write these songs with another person that he normally just wrote by himself, but then also like he didn't have a very big window to write these songs, so they were like, all right, let's do this now. This is the next idea. Let's write the song around this, and almost to like put something out there. It's like this is the version everybody's getting, and we got lucky. These are awesome songs.
Yeah, we're still out here dancing. Lord, after all this time, wildflowers and wine. We're still out here dancing. Lord, after all this time, wildflowers and wine.
Just a simple, beautiful love song.
You know what that song reminds me of is, and this is gonna be so. I don't mean to take this the wrong way. Anybody or you who's becoming a fan of Marcus King, but that sounds like a John Mayer, like blues John Mayer.
Thought, I could hear it. I thought that as well. Yep. I hear like a little like.
You never know which way the John Mayer conversation's gonna go. Whether someone respects him as a blues guitarist, or whether somebody just thinks of.
I'm personally a John Mayer.
Yeah. Oh, a big fan, John Mayer.
I do like John Mayer. Great artist.
Yeah. So that was Wildflowers and Wine. I like that one a lot, actually. That was we were gonna do that on what we're listening to, but decided that I wanted to do a full breakdown of this album. So stole it. Sorry, Court. All right. So the next one we're gonna do is "Beautiful Stranger." Do we want to talk about this song at all at first, or do we want to?
Let's get into it a little, because I think there's some intrigue to it that is interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So it's "Beautiful Stranger" now.
Beautiful stranger, come here quite often. I don't know your name, but I know what you drink. You got a secret, but it's one you can't keep. Oh, beautiful stranger, you're an angel to me.
I'm gonna pause it there so we could recap what just happened. Why don't you guys?
Yeah, this one's fun. I feel like it's a local watering hole that he frequents, and maybe he's a little secret admirer of someone that also comes in frequently, but they've never formally crossed paths and introduced themselves to each other. So, he knows a lot about him or her, I guess, but hasn't made a formal introduction yet.
You know what this reminds me of is "If She Ever Leaves Me," the High Women song that we did, where Brandy Carlisle's talking about, her wife or girlfriend or whatever standing across the bar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is just about not being able to, like, you admiring someone but not ever getting close to them, or like actually learning about them, just like, I don't know, staring at them, which is half creepy but also like half beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of take it as more like a fantasizing about them, or daydreaming ideas about as we see moving forward where they could go together possibly.
Yeah, here it is.
If you're feeling lonely, come sit next to me. We'll find a slow song to dance to. Strangers no longer will be. Beautiful stranger, so lovely tonight. Could it be my future that I see in your eyes? Take me to heaven and do as you please. Oh, beautiful stranger, you're an angel to me.
So he obviously had to get a beautiful solo in here too, which fits the mood of this song.
Yep.
This is actually the song that he was, when I read through some of the stuff that Marcus was talking about, Auerbach had added all the background harmonies in the choir sections, which I guess this was one of the first songs they cut on this album. And those just fit right there during that solo and stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know your name, but I know what you drink. one you can't keep. Oh, beautiful stranger, you're like an angel to me. Love, beautiful stranger, you're like an angel.
I think they bring the choir in nicely there, kind of rate on Angel to give it more of that heavenly
Yeah.
church-like gospel sound.
Makes it a fantasy. It's just-
Yeah.
I like that.
It's like snapping out of a dream almost, probably. You know, like kind of hitting the peak or the climax of the dream. And then
Yeah.
probably in this case, sadly, coming back to reality.
Yeah. It's one of those songs where it's really simple, but from what it looks like is that, one of the best things about some of these artists that we cover is that they can be relatable stories or things that you can, picture in your own head, or it's not some obscure kind of thing. And that's one of them. And I'd rather have that's kind of simple than something that's so obscure and so out there that you've got to like spend hours thinking about, what could this possibly be? It doesn't relate to people like something like that would.
This one does leave me with one, like, it leaves me wondering a little bit, because he says it twice. He says, you got a secret, but it's one you can't keep. And I wish he'd tell me what the secret is.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe that's just to keep you wondering, keep you coming back listening. He's just trying to pump up the listens. Maybe, I don't know.
You want to play a little of Too Much Whiskey?
Yeah, we got time. So this last one that we're gonna play before we wrap it up is called Too Much Whiskey, and I'm gonna tell you now. So because I think he says it in the first line, too much of that old Whiskey River is a direct nod to the Willie Nelson song Whiskey River, and this is a song about losing a loved one, and maybe listening to the song Whiskey River too much.
Too much of that old Whiskey River leaves a young man feeling old. That old love you still remember, cut you deep down in your soul. Lost that girl down in Orleans, chasing some old voodoo dream.
Yeah, so I mean, too much of that old Whiskey River leaves a young man feeling old. Talks about lost that girl in New Orleans, obviously somebody significant other, and it's just driving him crazy. And he can't stop listening to that song. It's bumming him out.
Yep. I just really like the riff and the beat on this song. It's kind of like a little rollicking. I'd say it's the closest thing to a country type that we got. A little honky tonk type feel to it.
You could definitely walk into a bar in Nashville and hear this song.
Yes.
100%.
There you go, Shotgun Willie on the stereo.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a little sneaky ode to Willie Nelson.
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's fun. All right. That's this week's episode.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What are we going to come back with next time? Have we started
We'd love to hear
next
from
artist?
people. We'd love to hear. If you had people that you think are a good fit for the show, or something new, something that we haven't explored yet, hit us up. Let us know. Leave a mention in the reviews. Hit us up on Twitter at Talkin Folk. We're always looking for new stuff.
One of the things that we like is artists who are not everyday artists. Like, there's a lot of people out there who know Marcus King for sure. He's playing at Red Rocks, for Christ's sake. But at the same time, he's not a Stapleton yet.
He's opening for Stapleton.
Yeah, he's got the makings to be a Stapleton someday, for sure. But, we want to cover artists like that. We also want to cover the big artists. So, yeah, if you've got recommendations, that's great. We'll let this fade out. Catch you on the next one.
See you soon, guys.
Until next time.
My